Welcome the Legionnaires of Christ, Brother Juan Vazquez. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you very much. So as Guy said, I'm Brother Juan, and I'm from far from here. I'm from Spain, so it's a pleasure for me to be here. It's a great honor because I'm here to tell you a great story. And I remember when I was growing up, some people might have told me, "Hey Juan, I'm going to tell you a story." And I'm like, "All right, can I get my pillow, please?" But this is a story that you will never, ever forget in your life. Never. Why? Because this is a real story. So, 6 years ago, my dad was very sick. Very, very sick. He had Crohn's disease. And Crohn's disease consists in that your intestines just shrink like a dried out raisin. It's very, very, very painful. So what happens when your intestines shrink? You can't eat, right? You can't digest anything. So can you imagine my dad just losing weight and losing weight and losing weight and losing more weight with an extreme pain? I'm sure you have all had stomach aches, right? Just imagine a strong stomach ache times 10, day and night. That's how painful that disease is. It's very, very painful. So my dad was losing weight, and at one point he weighed 80 pounds. And he is as tall as I am, or like some people like to say, as short as I am. Right? So just imagine 80 pounds is nothing. He was in his bones. So I was praying for my dad. And my mom was praying for my dad. And my brothers and sisters were praying for my dad, for our dad. But my mom was really the one who suffered the most because she was the only one at home. She was seeing my dad starving. And knowing that that was not a curable disease, like the doctor said. It's not curable. Not curable. No hope. No hope for my dad. So my brothers and sisters were not there because we are all consecrated to God. So I have two brothers that are like me, starting to be priests. So just so you know, I'm not a priest yet. Thank you. But so I have two brothers, and the two of them are in Italy right now. And I have two sisters that are like nuns, consecrated to God too. So, thank you. So the five of us are consecrated to the Lord. Praise the Lord. Yes, so it's a great blessing to have my own brothers and sisters just going on the same path like I am, right? But in this situation, we were not close to our dad. We were far away physically, but spiritually we were there. But we did not see our dad suffering like my mom did. And my dad would actually hide it. Like when I was in New York, he would go and he would eat lunch with us, but he would actually just put things in his mouth. That's what my mom told me after a couple of years. he would just put things in his mouth, rice or whatever, and he would go to the restroom and spit it out, just to make us feel good. So I really did not see anything really wrong with my dad, because I did see him eating, but that was because he wanted to make us feel good. So, but just imagine, my dad in his bones, starving, knowing that there was no hope. And one day, one consecrated woman told my dad, "Hey, Carlos," that's my dad's name, "Carlos, I know a family in Spain, in Madrid, I'm from Madrid, that has one of the skull caps of John Paul II, one of the zuccheros from John Paul II. Maybe you can have it. Maybe I can just even go to them and ask them for the skull cap and bring it to you so that you can pray to John Paul II, and maybe you can get cured." And my dad said, "Yeah, why not?" So just imagine my parents having the skull cap of John Paul the Great in their bedroom for 9 days. Can you imagine? Praying the novena, and my mom was really excited about it, and every day she would go and kneel down and say, "Lord, please, Lord, through John Paul II, please, Lord, cure him. Please, Lord, cure him." But do you know what? My dad, he never asked for a cure. And he always prayed like this: "Lord, you gave me this cross to carry, this heavy cross of this Crohn's disease. But if you want me to carry this cross for the rest of my life, I accept it. But give me the strength to carry it." He never, ever, ever asked for his cure. So one day, it was November 14th, 2006. One day he was going to work, and he was working for a couple hours, but suddenly he felt a very sharp pain. And that was like his intestines were just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking more. A very sharp pain. And even though he had his car right in front of him, he could not drive it because of the pain. So he called up my mom and said, "Hey, could you please come and pick me up, because it's so painful that I cannot even drive." So my mom did. So she went and picked him up. And when they got back home, Dad went straight to bed. And my dad dreamt that night about John Paul II. And when you dream that, you wake up and you say, I was just dreaming. It's just a dream. And it's not real. But my dad told me that dream was so vivid, so real, that when he woke up, he was just like, "Hey, John Paul, where are you?" He was looking for him because it was so real. So in that dream, John Paul II told my dad, "Carlos, now you can eat, because you have to help me save many souls. Go eat, because you have to help me save many souls." So my dad, when he woke up with so much full of energy that he just went straight to the kitchen to wash pots and pans, to wash the dishes. And my mom was like, "Oh my goodness, what's wrong with this guy today?" So because just imagine, how painful it was, and every day he would just get up with that same pain, very, very slowly, right foot first, down, left foot second, and let's walk step by step. It was so painful. It was very painful. But that day, boom, like lightning, straight to the kitchen, to work, to do everything. And my dad knew that was a miracle, because he never felt like that before. It was the first day without any pain. So after washing pots and pans, my dad said, well, I'm going to call up my doctor. So he did. And he called up his doctor and said, hey, doctor, you know what? I think I'm cured. You know, he was so excited. Yes, doctor, I think I'm cured. I want to eat something. And the doctor's like, Carlos, you can't eat anything. But I think I'm cured. But you can't eat anything. But doctor, I think I'm really, really cured. This is a miracle. And the doctor got really mad at him and said, you know, Carlos, you know what? Miracles do not exist. And I tell you that if you eat something, you're going to die in less than 8 seconds. And he hung up on my dad. He got so mad. Because my dad just kept insisting that he wanted to eat. And my dad knew that was the miracle. So that day, his cousins, my dad's cousins, went to visit him. So they went for a walk. And my dad was telling them about the dream and about John Paul II and about how good he felt when he woke up. And about the doctor too. The doctor told him in less than 8 seconds, if you eat something, you will die. So his cousins were just like, okay, you know, fine. And they were in pain with it, with my dad too, just because he was so bad and such in a bad shape. But when they were walking, they saw a restaurant, and my dad points at that restaurant and says, let's go to the restaurant. And they're all like, no, you just told us that in 8 seconds, if you eat something, you'll die. My dad said, no, let's go to the restaurant. I know, this is a miracle. I'm convinced that this is a miracle. So I said, okay. And just imagine what they were thinking about, you know, oh my gosh, this is the last day of his life. You know, we are all guilty of his death. We are committing, you know, he's committing suicide. But they obeyed because he was so convinced. So they went to the restaurant and they all sat down and the waiter came and dad goes, can you please bring me a steak with lots of fat? The strongest coffee of the restaurant, French fries, and by the way, for dessert, ice cream. So just imagine his cousin just staring at him like, oh my goodness, this guy is nuts. But anyway, when the waiter arrived with a huge platter and put it in front of my dad's face, they were just staring at him, and my dad took his fork, took his knife, and of course, he said grace and cut the first piece. He put it in his mouth. And just imagine his cousins counting. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Nothing happened. And, you know, he swallowed it. Second piece, third piece, fourth piece, and nothing. And he felt perfect. And he finished everything. He finished everything. So that's the miracle. That was a miracle. Praise the Lord. So thanks to John Paul II, thanks to the intercession of John Paul II, my dad can eat whatever he wants right now. And that was 6 years ago. And when he went to the doctor, thank you. The doctor told him, after fighting a lot with him because he did not want to answer his phone calls, after a whole month, he went to his office and the doctor's like, wow, this is a miracle. And I was like, right, great. But the doctor told him, do you know what, Carlos? You have intestines of a 21-year-old guy. Praise the Lord. Thank you.